Yeah.
Pain and eternal pain. Pain continues. Not as bad pain as we've had in the past. I've had worse pain. I know I'm sounding like a certain prescription that just came out and is selling it on the internet with all the side effects and everything involved. That is this team this year. We have seen worse performances, but we're going to dive into it. Today, this is the recap of Week 10. Titans at the Chargers. Let's jump into it. Already feeling better. The Cowboys were worse today, Bradley. Did you know that?
Well, I mean, they don't have Dak Prescott, so.
I'm sorry, Alan. Look, it's just one of those things. Look, there's a lot of bad football. You know, Bradley and I focus on our team, and we know how bad they are. But if you look around the league, I'll put it this way because this is how I'll start the show this time. At least you're going through the rebuild now, right?
Yeah.
There are teams that haven't started the rebuild yet. The Giants desperately need to rebuild. And they've needed to rebuild for what, 3 years now? About three, I think. Everybody is behind the eight ball. You need to take your lumps now. So I feel like we're taking our lumps now. And the Cowboys are just about to begin their thing. Rush only had 4. Ooh, that's ugly. That's really ugly. Put Trey Lance in the 4th. Well, we'll go ahead before we talk about our Titans. Alan, does Mike McCarthy have a job Monday morning, or are the Cowboys finally done? Are they done with him?
Yeah, Jerry Jones ain't firing nobody. He never fires head coaches that early. No. I mean, I blame Cowboys all on Jerry Jones. He's like acts like he's Bill Belichick type, owner. He didn't even consider Derrick Henry. Like, didn't even talk to him.
Yeah. It was the first time I've ever mentioned he's ever mentioned that I can remember about having money trouble. That was the first time I've ever heard him say that. Anyway, welcome to Fanboys Unleashed, everybody, a Titans podcast where we are going to talk about the Cowboys for the first seconds or so. I am your host, Sam, a.k.a. Mr. First Down, with Bradley Mangold. We are delighted to have you here tonight. Feel free to join in about the Titans. Feel free to join in about your team. We like talking football. We love it. We endure it. We're both paying $22 a month to bring you more and more footage of stuff as we begin to grow Fanboys Unleashed into the ultimate brand, the Death Star of sports talk before we get blown up by So let's go ahead and dive into this. Chargers 27, Titans 17. An ugly game to be sure, but I hate saying this, but I've seen worse. I've seen worse. You got some interesting performances today. You've got some bad performances today. There is a large amount of the pie to be spread around here as far as why this team is bad. So I'll ask you first, Bradley, who gets the biggest piece of the pie for why the Titans lost today?
Yeah, I have to go with Brian Callahan. I mean, Titans fans, this is not a news flash. Mike Vrabel had the same issue too. Just 7-3 lead, and then Chargers outscored us 24-3 down the stretch. Titans took them to the fourth quarter, last drive to score a touchdown. The second half adjustments are just not being made still. Like against New England, they were made, but New England's, they're like us. They're bottom feeders. They're just trying to see where they're at. And unfortunately with us, we have a lot of issues. Like you said, that pie, there's plenty of plates out to be served with that plain pie. But the second half adjustments, again, killed us. And Justin Herbert did what he did. Like stat-wise, Levis had just a little bit better stats besides the sacks, but Chargers have a great offensive line. They have Jim Harbaugh, who's a great head coach. And Herbert led them to great drives and kept scoring points. And then, unfortunately, Titans' offense was just stagnant. We couldn't get the ball moving. We just couldn't get. That's it. We just couldn't do anything. Couldn't convert third down. Tony Pollard got banged up. He only rushed for 44 yards today.
Spears made some
good plays. He got hit hard a couple of times due to some bad play calling. Calvin Ridley he showed up again. Outside of Calvin Ridley, that's about it. Calvin Ridley and Levis had a good connection. That's about positive I can get offensively. They all three, Levis, Pollard, and Spears combined, all three of them, they ran the ball good, but then Chargers.
They get the other pie, right? They get the other pie. Like here's your dollop of pie,
But I mean, on top. We saw this with the Packers. We saw this with another team I can't think of the top of my head. Titans defense is good until they face an elite quarterback. I mean, Malik Willis wasn't my fault. Malik Willis is not elite.
He isn't. He still isn't. But people
knows how to use him.
Right. He uses him. But if you look at how he plays him, it's the same plays over and over. Yeah. He can't do the whole playbook kind of thing. He's his one trick pony. So he tries to keep him out as much as he can and get him running. My biggest piece of the poop pie, of the nasty pie, it's got to go to the O-line. They are atrocious. From Brunskill at center, I'm going to not give him such a big piece. I know he screwed up today, but he also got shoved in there. So I feel like he will be better next game because Brunskill usually bounces back really well, as we've seen before. But from Radens and the two jokers at right tackle, just horrible. I mean, you're talking about scoring on a drive if your right tackle doesn't commit 2 false start penalties back to back. He's just –
and a face mask.
And a face mask, right. It was – just one thing after the other with him. It's the right side of the offensive line for me. They are just atrocious. And Callahan usually keeps a pretty clean face, but the camera caught him after those. He shook his playbook. I knew he was like, gosh darn it, I can't get anything going.
And Nick Folk missed the field goal, which was rare.
Well, at least he wasn't like people today who were missing multiple field goals in one game. Today, if you don't know, in the NFL was – all the kickers had a big meeting on Zoom or something and said, hey, guys, we're going to have a wacky day. And they did. But that's my nasty pie I'm going to give. But you know what? Let's just get it out of the way, Bradley. Let's just get it out of the way. His name? My negative.
A lot of minutes taken up on this.
I know it just there's so many, but I'll start here. Jeffrey Simmons, he was awful today. Not good enough. You're a leader of this team. We are paying you good money, and I still believe you are one of the best D tackles in the league. And for all I know, I'll change my mind next game once you show up. But today, sir, you were awful. He was bad. He's being blown off the line. But you know what? I'll change that. The D-line was bad. No sacks at all. And I don't want to get into the whole officiating thing. That's dumb. Okay, I'm sorry it didn't work out. But you should have played good enough to where that didn't matter. And you couldn't do it. From Harold Landry to Arden Key to Sweat to Jeffrey Simmons to Sebastian Joseph Day, just not good enough. You gave him
Gibby.
Oh, yeah. You gave him a touchdown when he was back there, and he could have just sat back there all day. He could have set up a lawn chair and sat there. I still wouldn't have touched him.
Why the Chargers got him.
And guess what? It's not as much as Brownlee is on this list of negatives. Yeah. It's not his fault to get the touchdown because you can't cover a guy for 6 seconds. It's just not going to be done. So the defensive line, they're negative for me today. They were atrocious. And I love defensive line.
Yeah.
They made me mad. They hurt me, Bradley. I'm going to pout about it. Go ahead, sir.
Well, this is going to be funny. The Titans.
Oh, boy.
That's my negative. It's just the Titans. Well, last week, I can't remember who it was. Somebody in Nashville's pumping up Jack Gibbons, like, oh, look at this, how he played. I'm like, I don't think he played all
Oh
that great
gosh, I
last
think it was
week.
Joe Rexerode. I think it
Yeah.
was Joe.
And
Him
then
and Tehran.
today, and then him today, I'm like, see why we don't give praise out too quickly. He didn't really do anything today. Kenneth Murray got beat. And what I'm frustrated at the most, I was laughing at one point in this game because I'm just like, this is so Titans typical, stagnant, whatever word. You could put up the dictionary against the wall, throw a dart, you'll hit a bad word and point out to the Titans. But just watching this game, 7-3, beautiful touchdown pass by Will Levis. And I'm like, okay, that's good. And flatline, nothing. No pulse, no nothing. And it's deja vu of the Packers game. They got a huge lead. They just bum rushed Will Levis and sacked the crap out of him again
Too
and again
easily.
and again.
Too easily.
And I'm just like, man, why is this so hard? And I remember Titans fans making the fun. Hey, 17 points. We hit our quota for today. There it is. And
the curse of Ryan Tannehill continues.
And like I told Titans fans, Will Levis didn't play bad today. He didn't have any turnovers.
Nope.
But unfortunately, like when you look at the stats, Will Levis' stats is a little bit better outside the sacks. But Herbert kept putting scoring drives together. And Will Levis couldn't. And what Titans were what? Where's the team stats? I think they were at least 1 for 10 on third down, I swear, something like that.
Oh yeah. I think
I'll say penalties, we know they were bad. 9 penalties for 68 yards. No team turned the ball over. Titans were 3 of 9 on third down. 33%. That's pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we ran the ball good. Chargers ran the ball just as Chargers had like 13 more rushing yards than we did. Levis outside the pocket, still not sliding. I'm like, dude, you just slide. You're still taking big hits. I'm lucky Derwin James wasn't one of those big hits because Derwin James likes to bring.
Oh yeah,
he'll bring the bang on you. So, but Calvin really, Will Levis were good, but the whole Titans. I mean, I know Titans fans are still blaming Callahan. That's okay. He's a rookie head coach.
Yeah, they're all going to learn together. That's just something you have to accept, and it's a hard.
This is his first year as a head coach, so I'm not. This is Jim Harbaugh, good head coach. He has an elite quarterback in Justin Herbert, top 10 in the NFL.
Yep.
And
he's with Greg Roman as his offensive coordinator, so we know they'll be good for at least 3 years. That's great. I mean, if you look at Greg Roman's career, he's out in 3 years. Like his offense just turns to crap, and he's like, well, I guess I'll hit the old dusty trail. He did it with the 49ers and Colin Kaepernick. He did it with the Bills, and then he did it with the Ravens. He just stays for 3 or 4 years, and he moves on. It's like, well, they figured out my offense. Got to go. Like it's really bizarre. He has a weird career. So I thought people would kind of figure him out by now, but I guess that's just you gotta wait till year 3 or something.
And the sad part is today, like the Chargers don't have great wide receivers. They don't.
No.
But they have Herbert and a great offensive line that, and Harold Landry is a one-trick pony, in my opinion. He uses his speed. Outside that, he's not a great threat. I'm not saying he's a good football player. Problem is when you can put a great right tackle on him like Joe Ott or Slater, Northwestern's beast left tackle. Yeah. Auden Key was locked up. I know a lot of Titans fans saying that was a fumble. It was not. He did have control. And I don't know if they're going to make a change to that rule because we're used to like the Tom Brady tuck rule. We're used to seeing people throw overhand. But now in today's NFL with Mahomes, Herbert,
you can throw it any way you want.
Sidearm, submarine, behind the back, whatever. As long as you have control of that ball and your arms going forward, they're going to call it incomplete. And that was the only Jeffrey Simmons play that was good. But the Titans fans are blaming the officials. Officials let the play go. It was New York that said, no, it was a fumble.
Yeah, New York is the one that called down and said, no.
So it wasn't the ref's fault.
And once again, you and I have discussed this before. You cannot leave it in their hands. You should have never been in that
the Chiefs.
Yeah, you're not the Chiefs.
We're not the Chiefs.
By the
We're not
way,
getting
how
the Chiefs.
lucky are they? How lucky are they? Unfreaking believable. It's whoever they sold their soul to some pagan god or something. Like something is really flipping nuts. It just comes up. It comes up for them constantly. It's mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling. I'm with you. The somewhat like the overall the team is just bad. They're bad on a bunch of fronts. Do I think they'll get better? Yes, I do. Why do I think they'll get better?
There's too many injuries.
There's too many injuries. You need Snead back. You need these guys back. You lost your starting center. You lost your other safety who was having a great year. Wow. It's like one thing after the other. And this team was already having trouble winning games. Mm-hmm. But they're going to learn together. And there are pieces, whether we want to admit it or not, that are working. When the scheme works, and it can work, they move the ball up and down the field. They can't really score. They can move the ball up and down the field. But that I think that's it for me. I have hope because I've seen when the offense is working, it's working. They just got to execute. And most people want to blame the coach, and I'm not saying he's not blameless and everything. He was obviously rattled today. I don't blame him for being rattled because I wouldn't be able to tell you what play to run because the right side gets blown up every single play. But I do think when I watch him scheme, I mean, when's the last time you saw us convert a 3rd and 15 with Vrabel? Right. I don't remember it. I don't recall it.
Wow.
I think his scheme works. I think it's the execution, which is really bad. It's bad. So that's my other negative. The execution is horrendous. And I mean from the quarterback to the defensive end to the third safety on the depth chart, bad. They're bad. Teams. Right. And they talk about – I love these people on TV because they obviously don't know your team. They're like, oh, they haven't adjusted well in the second half. I'm like, adjustment? They're getting sacked every other down. There's no adjustment. It's just not working. You know, they're not good enough. They're devoid of talent in crucial places. So that's our negatives. Unless you got another one, we can get to the fun part. Let's see. Holy crap, he's on the list, Brad. Will Levis is on the positive list. That's a win. That's a win, everybody. Will Levis made the positive list on Fanboys Unleashed. Welcome aboard, bro. Welcome aboard. Mayo Man is on the loose. Not because he was extraordinary today, but he didn't make the stupid mistake. He was decisive in his runs. He was decisive in his throwing about, I would say, 40% of the time. I felt like he was actually tuned in and ready to go, and maybe sitting on the bench for 3 weeks kind of fixed that up for him. But Will Levis, welcome to one of the positives. Yeah. I'm about this life. My second positive, well, hello, Calvin Ridley. Where have you been, sir? We missed you so much. We missed you. Last time we saw you were at the Detroit game, and I don't even want to talk. So it's good to see him again. Finally, the connection seems to be finally kicking in somehow here in Week 10. And number 3, Ryan Stonehouse punted the hell out of the ball today. That's number 3. Okay? He punted it, and he didn't get blocked. Moral victories. Yay. Do you have a positive? If you don't have one that's
not just Will Levis not turning the ball over. That's one of my positives because we've been.
That's why he's on the list.
That. Yeah.
Well, I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. I was like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to do it.
I want to say left side of line. I know they didn't play bad as the right. The left is obviously.
Casey Latham played well. Latham
and Skoronski played good. Josh Oliver made 2 good late catches. Good to see him in the game.
Happy. I've been waiting on that guy all year, Oliver. Been waiting on him all year.
Yeah. Punt return coverage was better today, but
yes. Still let one go up the left side. Still let one go off the left side. They're just
the small positives were there today, which is a good thing. Vikings next week. I'm not too confident in their defense, but
I guess Jefferson's a 50 burger.
If Snead's not, that'd be a good matchup if Snead can make it back in time. But Snead, even before his injury, Snead's last couple of games, he was not doing well under Wilson, and that's understandable. New defensive coordinator, new scheme, and maybe that's why he was getting burnt because he was not 100%. But Justin Jefferson's obviously a young, great receiver, and another intriguing matchup. But it's just so weird, talking about this Titans team because it's just stagnant offense. I think this defense could keep us in games. The bad news is just we can't
move the ball.
Yeah, we just can't score points. 7-3 league, outscored 24-3 down the stretch before we finally scored a touchdown. It's geez, you guys make it. I can't remember who it might have been Easton. This offense is kind of just so boring to watch at times. I agree because they're still relying on the run game to open up the pass game, which is nothing wrong with that. But Tony Pollard, he's been good for us.
There's that's not how Callahan wants to.
He doesn't. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, he wants to throw and get a 5-yard gain.
Run. We gotta throw it.
Yeah, no, he wants his 5-yard gain on first down, and then he wants to run it to make third and close, so he can try to throw something deep. Whatever. That's what he did when he was with Cincinnati. That's how they play. They 3rd and 2, and then Joe Burrow launches one. That's what he wants to do. But he can't.
But they got Jamar Chase.
Right. Well, right.
He's going off. He's going off.
Right, but he can't run that so he's stuck trying to do what he thinks will work. And
I guess another negative I will say is Nick Westbrook-Akina.
His touchdown ended today.
Yeah, against the bad teams, you'll see him make a couple good plays and score a touchdown. But today, he just what was it?
Couple of catches. Couple of catches.
Clear stats. I know he had a couple. I think it was 2 catches at that. 3 catches for 31 yards. So, that's not a great number 2 receiver to have. So, and Tyler Boyd, I think Tyler Boyd had.
Did you say Nick Westbrook-Akina? If only we could draft somebody to replace him. I say louder into the microphone. But you will never get any. There's this section of Titans fans that love that man, and I don't understand. And it's got to the point to where
Tyler Boyd didn't even have a target today.
So he was horrible. He couldn't block. He was bad. Horrible.
Nick Westbrook-Akina is good because he's always available. The problem is he's not a game-changing receiver. He's not going to be that X factor. No. And I like him too because he's reliable. But the problem is he's not. And Calvin Ridley, he's a good receiver, but he's not top 10 receiver. He's easily top 20.
The problem what bothers me about NWI is that I know you could have drafted somebody better by now. I know you could have. That's what drives me crazy. Is that he's still here, and every year during the offseason, he might be kicked off. He might be on the practice squad. But wait, there's more. He's here. He never goes away. Him and Mason Kinsey are going to be on this team until they're 50 years old, and they will never, ever leave. And I've just learned to accept these things and whatnot. I expect big changeover next year. I think there's going to be quite a bit of nip and tuck. But I was going to ask you this question as we approach the 30-minute mark. Titans are currently picking 3rd. Let's say it stays that way. You're going to pick 3rd.
Oh.
Do you want the quarterback? And you know it's probably not going to be Sanders. I don't want the quarterback. I want the wide receiver. That's what I want. I want the Heisman guy.
Hunter.
I want Hunter.
If he wins it, because Ashon Genty is tearing it up at Boise State currently.
He sure is. But give me Hunter any day of the week. Or do you take a right tackle and just be done with it?
So this is a good question because
there's pros and cons for each of them.
Oh yeah. Well, what's interesting is when you go to the first 3 games of the year, we're seeing Brian Callahan verbally on camera chewing out Will Levis for the costly mistakes that he's making. Right. And I'm guessing there was a meeting between Rand and Bill saying, Rand, hey, be nice to the kid. Don't be on camera chewing him out. And that's just my thought. But I'll say this. If Will Levis ends this season more turnovers and touchdowns and he has 1 win, Brian Callahan might be saying, hey, Rand, I don't want this guy as my quarterback. No offense. Just because man, it's just I don't like the quarterback draft class this year. I don't see Sanders, Cam Ward. I don't see those. Those are the 2 best quarterbacks coming out. Carson Beck has not been good this year. Quarterback for Texas, I don't see him being good.
Ewers gets beat up constantly.
I know Titans fans want to draft the freshman quarterback out of Tennessee, Nico.
No.
That's not going to happen.
I'm a UT fan. You do not need to draft.
Yeah.
If Cam is there and you need a quarterback, you take Cam. That's the question. That's what I'm doing.
They're going to draft. I got a feeling if it stays like this, they're going to draft Sanders or Ward, depending on whoever's in front of us. Cleveland's getting a quarterback. Las Vegas needs a quarterback.
Yes.
Panthers won, but Bryce Young didn't play great. Patriots have their future quarterback. So
acknowledge me, says the Packers.
Team, Brian.
Yeah, he's a cheesehead. He's
in love. So that depends how the rest of the season goes out for Levis. But it's a tough question to answer, not because it's also because of Brian Callahan. Like we don't know how Rand's gonna feel at the end of the year because
surely he's not.
When you look at outside the Bengals, because Bengals are just if the Bengals had our defense. If the Bengals had our defense, they'll be Super Bowl champs because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are lighting it up, but that defense can't stop a nosebleed. Outside of Joe Burrow, like when you look at Philadelphia, good head coach, good quarterback duo. Chargers now have a good head coach quarterback duo. The Chiefs have.
I feel like Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia's head coach is terrible, and the players are just good enough to overcome how bad.
He does have Barkley, Brown, and Smith, so it's
They're like, boy, you can't coach for anything. Don't worry, all 3 of us are Superman.
Right?
That's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, I mean the Chiefs, they got Mahomes and Andy Reid, so
they've got the greatest offensive mind in football, and Andy Reid.
Yeah, and that's why they win. And the Bills, I guess you can put the Bills in there too. The Ravens, of course, Derrick Henry Lamar is tearing it up right now. So, I mean, it's so competitive, and that's why I agree with Tom Brady and what he said. There's a lot of mediocre quarterback play in the league, and I agree because outside of Purdy, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Herbert, and Jaden Daniels. I mean, he had a great game. He had a good game against a good defense in Pittsburgh. That was a great game. I watched that. That was my first game I watched, so that was a good game. I don't want the Titans to be like the Cleveland Browns, though. Every year, we got to draft the quarterback. We got to draft the quarterback. Until it sticks. Like it's such a tough sport to play when you're a quarterback.
Yes. It is.
That's why if it was me and if Rand said, hey, Brad, can I get your opinion? I would do what the Bears did. Just trade the pick, get multiple picks, and go from there. Because that's just the only way I can think Tennessee can come out of this. And I hate to say it, I don't want to see this offense in the new stadium because it's not a boring offense. It's just like you said, they're not executing, so sometimes it's unbearable to watch. Like the score may have been 27-17, but I was laughing at one point just because of the mediocrity, the just the
Mediocre
overall
play.
mediocre play.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just watching it, I'm like, why do you guys make my eyes bleed when I watch you play? And we're Titans fans. We're used to it. It's been a long time, but we had that 7-3 lead, and it's like, what happened? Like, how do you guys go from yay from it's just
To
like the
me,
worst roller coaster in history.
well, I think we covered that with the pie, right? You said Brian Callahan, and I said offensive line. That's why there's got to be something that holds them back every single time, and I think the O-line play just absolutely screwed them. And it's sad. It sucks. It sucks. But this is, you'd rather be going through this rebuilding year now than down the road. Look at the Saints. They have to start all the way over next year.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. All the way over. They are $85 million over the cap. Do you know what they have to do this offseason? It's going to get bad.
Buy Derek Carr.
Like, you're probably talking, instead of like a 1 or 2 rebuild, you're talking about 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Like, they're going to be in such hell unless something miraculously happens here for them.
And another thing I want to talk about is like, look at the Browns. They let Baker go. Carolina, the Rams, they let him go. And he's doing good in Tampa. And I'm not, hey, Will Levis still has 8 games to prove himself. So we'll see what happens. I know we're not going to make the playoffs. That's okay. Because we're already at 7 losses. And, I mean, but if they draft a new quarterback, I probably won't like it because I don't see Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward being – I'm not saying they can't be good, but can they beat the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows, the Justin Herberts, the Patrick Mahomes? That's going to be the big question.
I agree with you.
I just don't see it with these guys. I'd rather trade the draft. I will just trade for future draft picks because I don't want to be like the Cleveland Browns.
Get the right tackle, the wide receiver. Then that's what I would do.
Right.
Because I feel like Hunter was a can't miss.
By some miracle, Steelers do let Justin Fields hit free agency.
Then that's your bridge, right? That's your bridge. That's your bridge quarterback. Yeah.
Just because Fields under Arthur Smith has looked great compared to when he was in Chicago.
Oh, Arthur. So, I miss Arthur every day.
I couldn't use some Arthur Smith right now.
I think it's so funny because every Titans fan loves Arthur Smith and people bash him around the league, and I'm like, you don't understand. Yeah.
I remember
Titans fans and Arthur Smith are involved. Okay, we need.
It was after the Packers game. I watched A to Z because sometimes I like to watch them because sometimes Austin and them do make some good points.
Sure.
At the point where Matt LaFleur said, "Hey, I'm going to leave," I was kind of hoping that Titans would say, "Hey, let's just give you an interview for a head coaching job."
Well, I think they shocked him. I think they didn't think he was going to get the job, and he got the job. So, and rightfully so. I mean, but the remaining thing around the league was that he was just getting the interview and not the job. Got the job, so must have done something right. There's always the path less taken.
Yeah,
you chose Vrabel over LaFleur or whatever, but. I mean, going back, you're just going to rip yourself to pieces if you go back.
Right.
Like you just are. So you have to. We're going to ride out this year, and Bradley and I are going to ride it out with you. And we're going to ride it out with all the other bad teams and all the discussion and everything. And that's football. And hopefully, a brighter future is just around the corner. I am Sam Dean.
I think another question I will bring up before we leave is for Brian Callahan is who are you trying to develop Will Levis's game after? Because he does have a big arm. His scrambling ability is not bad, but it's not the greatest. Like Like, it's not like Michael Vick out there running, but we don't need him to be Michael Vick. But like watching, like I remember when Titans fans say, "Well, Will Levis hasn't had a full season of play yet." I'm like, okay, if you want to go that route, Jaden Daniels hasn't played. He hasn't even played a half a full season. He's doing better. You know why? Because he's a better quarterback. And if Will Levis does need, obviously Will Levis needs to be developed. Who do we compare Will Levis to? Because I remember fans saying, "Oh, he could be Josh Allen." I'm like, that's a deep stretch because Josh Allen did make a miraculous turnaround after his first couple of years in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But what sucks about Will Levis is he's 25 years old. He's not 21, 22, 23. He's already at that prime age where you see quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. And Titans never took that route with Mariota and Jake Locker, Vince Young. As soon as they draft them, boom, you're out there. You don't sit for a year to learn. You're just immediately thrown to the wolves.
Oh, they sat Jake Locker for a year. He was just bad.
Yeah, Jake Locker.
To be fair, none of those guys were the guy. Though. Like none of them were. Did we do them any favors?
Has since Steve McNair.
Right. So,
and that's why I said, like a Titans fan today made a post saying, "Can Will Levis be that Titans superstar quarterback?" I'm like, dude, you realize this? We never had a superstar quarterback. Steve McNair was the only Titan. We're talking about Titans. Oilers, yes, you can include Warren Moon, but we're talking about Titans superstar quarterbacks. Steve McNair is it. That's it. It's just Steve McNair, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going forward.
Yeah. They have
bring
to
on the Vikings.
Bring on the Vikings. Yep, bring on the Vikings. Let's get killed by Sam Darnold's bounce back game. Who's with me, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for watching Fanboys Unleashed. We would love for you to like and subscribe and go everything. You can follow me at Mr. First Down. You can find Bradley Mangold on Facebook. We are working on a Facebook page, and we are getting our own channel all developed, so we'll have more content just for you. That's what you want. Both of our smiling faces, our neuroticism, and our insanity on full display for your viewing pleasure. For Sam Dean, a.k.a. Mr. First Down, Bradley Mangold, this has been Fanboys Unleashed. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you next Sunday.